wants to find a better name for me. It's a bit wordy. The whole purpose of this process is that we bring everybody together in our community, because the attractions and event industry is very small. Just to reassure you all that we're in this together, and just to share our knowledge base. I've got some great people with me today. A lot of them, actually not a lot of them, all of them I can call friends, but a lot of them people that you won't know. So I'll introduce myself. My name's Mike from Galaxy Multi-Rides. We're a manufacturer here in Florida, live from my new office, which is my kitchen. We have Susan Storey from IAAPA, Andrew Dauterman from Daniel's Woodland, and Lauren Weaver from Sally Dark Rides. So welcome to jumping on here. Susan, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hello, everybody. I'm Susan Storey, IAAPA. I'm the Communications Director. I'm so excited to be here with you all today. It's really fun to see, as Mike said, my friends here on the screen from my home office here in my living room. But also, it's just great to be able to bring our industry together during this uncertain time and connect and see how we can all help each other.
Fantastic. Andy, over to you, mate.
My name is Andy Dauterman. I'm the Executive Vice President of Business Development for Daniel's Woodland. We are a scenic fabricator located in beautiful, sunny, yet rainy California. I've been with the company for over 13 years. We've been in the industry for nearly 25 years, providing props, themed environments, shooting galleries, playgrounds, all kinds of stuff to various entities across the globe.
Fantastic. Lauren?
Hi, world of Facebook and IAAPA folks and friends above me. I'm Lauren Weaver from Sally Dark Rides. We've been in business for over 40 years now, creating dark ride attractions and animatronics for the theme park arena and museums and FECs and really anywhere that animatronics and dark rides can find a home.
Fantastic. Yeah. So, I mean, primarily, although technically, obviously, Susie being the association rep, that you're not one of the manufacturers like Andy and Lauren, but we all have global companies and we all cross into different sectors. So there's going to be a lot of people not knowing. Sorry, I'm getting messages from my parents saying, "How do I tune in? How do I watch this?" But, we cross so many different market sectors, so it's great that we can pull different inspirations and resources from across the globe. And I know, ironically, that the three of us here in Florida. But I just wanted to start off with the current situation of how we're all dealing with this and share some experiences and positive and negative. Obviously, we're trying to lift people's spirits, but I mean, do you want to start, Lauren? And how has this affected day-to-day operations and projects and things like that?
Sure. Well, really, on a personal level, my day-to-day changed as soon as we returned from California. At the leadership conference, I decided to pretty much work from home since then. Actually, my husband calls it spousal separation, not separation, but I'm actually staying in a different room. We're keeping our own space, and I've been working from home since. The others at Sally, we have remained open. However, that is going to change a little bit in the coming days. Most of us have been working from home. Especially the office staff. Obviously, we've got a shop with machinery that you can't necessarily work with at home. So our shop has remained open. We are continuing business as usual. Come March 30th, our office will be closed, but we will still be doing business. So everyone will have transitioned at that point to work from home, those that can. So business still operating as normal, but the location has changed a bit.
Yeah, I think we're all adapting to interesting situations. I mean, we actually stopped production today. The staff have gone home, but we have machinery, and the main concern for us was the benefit, the health of our staff, and being in such a close proximity. So we're fortunate that we're able to pay them to be away. How long that lasts, everyone's in the unknown, so we're going to see what happens with that. But I'm familiar with having machinery that suddenly grinds to a halt and nobody's using it. And I guess we're fortunate that we can sit here and work remotely on certain projects. Susie, how's it affecting the IAAPA team, and and how's that working for you guys?
Well, as Lauren just mentioned, we had the IAAPA in California just 2 weeks ago, and honestly, it feels like it was so much longer ago. While we were there is when all of the large parks in the United States started talking that they were closing. So we were really dealing with that in real time while also trying to facilitate our events, and then we came home. IAAPA is global, and we have offices all around the world, but we too here in the global offices and the North America offices in Florida, we've been working from home. The office has been closed, and currently we won't be going back probably until mid-April is the current timeline. Our Asia Pacific offices, bless their hearts, they've been dealing with this since January, and they have been working from home and continuing to work as our offices in Europe. And really, we're doing all we can to serve our members, but also help each other as a team. We're learning a new normal. Those of us who have kids, that means the kids are not in school. So we're learning how to work a full-time job and educate our kids too, which is kind of interesting. I keep hearing all of our pets are very happy because pets now have us home all the time, so they're not home alone. But it's an interesting balance to get your job done, to take care of your family, and also not, mentally wear yourself out. I think we're dealing with that day by day and sometimes hour by hour.
Yeah, I mean, just because we're all working from home and here is 4 hour talking to each other, it doesn't mean that work stops or that the world stops. And certainly for you guys, even more, the members of IAAPA are leaning on the association and asking for help and guidance. So it's interesting to see how technology is kind of closing that gap and allowing you guys to do your job. I mean, we're fortunate here in Florida, apart from a couple of cities, that we haven't been locked down, but that's not the case for you, is it, Andy? I mean, what's it like in California at the moment?
It's been difficult for us to do business. About a week and a half ago, Governor Newsom issued a stay-at-home order for the state of California. So we pretty much had to abide by those orders of not only the state, but of our county. And we've temporarily had to close our operation. It's a difficult thing, a difficult position for us to be in. We've got a lot of work, we've got a lot of contracts, we had a lot of deadlines, but we have to comply with this order, which means we've had to temporarily lay staff off. Those of us that are able to work from home, from the management team and operationally to keep the business running, are doing that, which is why I'm calling from my kids' playroom. I've kicked them out and turned it into my home office, so they're not loving that. But it's been a really difficult thing for us to do. Fortunately, our clients are spectacular, and many of them are in this similar position where they've just had to shut down, stop operating, reduce their staff. And so I haven't gotten any grief from any of our wonderful clients about it. So I think as an industry as a whole, people understand there's a greater good to this, and we need to do what we can to try and limit exposure to folks. But it's definitely been hard.
Yeah, I can't even imagine suddenly overnight just you've got to stay at home and everything ceases to keep moving forward. But for you, I mean, you've got quite an interesting story from what we've seen. Can you tell about how you guys have transitioned and retooled as effect to see what you can help during the outreach?
Sure. What we've done is, knowing that we had to lay off staff, we've made arrangements. We've been talking with our lenders, talking with our creditors and everybody, and just making sure that we're taking appropriate steps. A lot of our lenders have been spectacular, allowed us to defer payments and stuff like that. That'll keep us keep us from running out of our capital investment that we have, and allow us to kind of ease this during this difficult time. But what we've done is, as a management team, we kind of got together and we're trying to figure out what could we do to not only help out the communities, but also keep some money coming in the door. And so our senior project manager met with our local health officials, and we are now producing non-sterilized protective gowns that we are selling all across the country to first responders, EMS, paramedics. I mean, the list is going on and on. We're now reaching into corporations, things like Lowe's and Home Depot, and places that just wouldn't have something like this. And it's a way that we've found that we can continue to operate on a smaller, reduced scale, and help out our communities, which are such a need. I mean, PPE is personal protection equipment are those things that are really, really difficult to come by. And everybody is desperately just trying to find sources. So with a little bit of ingenuity and working with samples provided to us, we've been able to really make a little bit of a difference and try and help out. And the orders are coming in, and we're able to safely bring back some of our skilled labor. We're teaching them how not to be carpenters and be framers and be welders, but cut patterns and stitch things together. And it's a little bit of different lifestyle for them, but by safely having them operate, adhering to the conditions in the CDC, making sure we're doing things smart, protecting our staff as much as possible, we're able to kind of keep going a little bit.
I mean, that's phenomenal. It really is inspiring. I know that not everybody has the tooling and the opportunity to turn that kind of around, but I think the message still resonates that we've all got to try do something to keep that cash flow coming in and to keep our businesses going. And that's what we took from our first one of these live chats, is that unless you look after your business, you're not going to have the funds to re-employ these people that we may have had to lay off or not. And it's those difficult choices ahead for all of us. But it's great to hear that you've got, you got some people back, and that even better that you've got orders coming in, which is great.
Right.
Yeah, kudos to you for the innovation. Thank you.
Sorry, I'm getting feedback myself. Susie, is there anything that you want to talk about in terms of IAAPA, where people can maybe go if they've got questions, or as a member?
This is an unprecedented time for all of us, and I think what we're trying to do at IAAPA is not just create new resources, but also remind everybody of resources we have, and also provide information in as real time as possible. We created a dedicated page to helping our members navigate through the situation. If you just go to IAAPA.org, it's a huge orange box right at the top. And we list the various resources we've created. It's everything from webinars to downloadable information, links, critical links to the Small Business Administration, links to, frankly, all of the state's unemployment pages, information about all the letters and advocacy that IAAPA has been doing here in the United States and around the world. Anything that we can do to help provide information to our members, anything that we can do to help with communication, and really help manage through what we're dealing with now and start to prepare for when we reopen. This industry is strong and it's resilient, and while every day still seems a little uncertain, it's going to get better. And what we want to do is help our members. We know the picture is going to be very different. Many members will have laid people off. When parks reopen, they may be opening in different waves, maybe not all at once. We're seeing this coming out of China and Japan and Hong Kong, how they're starting to reopen. So we are doing all we can to be accessible and communicate and provide information to you, to all of our members, and just to support the attractions industry.
Right. And I don't know what you guys think, but I'm an optimistic person normally. I do think that once we come out the back end of this, there is going to be surge is maybe not the right word, but there's definitely going to be a bump in Andy can probably talk to this more, being locked up at home with the kids and things. There's going to be this need to get out and to do things. So I think parks, attractions, party rentals, bringing stuff in to the community, people are going to start to want to be together. I mean, how that looks, I think, is an interesting point. I think we are going to see a slightly different aspect to how parks reopen. And I don't think it's going to be the floodgates are going to open. People are still going to be in this mindset of social distancing. And it's going to be interesting as how companies ourselves, is how we encourage and work with clients and the general public, and, you know, how we do that, whether that be reduced capacity or staged and things like that. But I do think it's obviously insanely difficult and there's so much unknown, but I do feel like there is light at the end of this tunnel, and that we are going to come out of this shining. I may have got ahead of myself slightly there, but Susie, you touched upon some of the resources that IAAPA were offering, and you mentioned including links to states' unemployment and some guidelines like that. I may be putting you slightly on the spot here, so I apologize, but is that being utilized? Do you know? I mean, what's the feedback from the internal team?
Well, we're updating that whole resource section daily. And like I said, some of it is information that we've put together, and others of it is really information sharing. We want to make sure that our members can come to IAAPA and hopefully be a one-stop shop. So if you go to the page, particularly in North America, and if you click the North America link, for those of you that are here in North America, links to all of that are right there. So unemployment, small business administration, details about the bills that are being passed, and how could you possibly apply for either some of the payroll tax relief or things like that. Mm-hmm. We are also really always reminding our members that it's all of us together. And so advocacy is just not our team that's based in the DC office, but it's really all of you. So we've included all the letters and the various things of support on top of about our industry to help you all share with your local representatives, share with your national representatives. But we're continuing to update that. And then for any of our members that are around the world, we have similar things too. So in each of the regions, we're providing the work that we're doing there. Yesterday, we sent a letter and had meetings with the tourism minister in Mexico. So, you know, we're really working on behalf of the industry around the world. We know this industry has great economic impact in their communities. We know we employ a lot of people here in the United States alone. That's over 700,000 people just in attractions. So that doesn't even count the three of you who are in manufacturing and suppliers. So we know we have a great story to tell, and we're doing all we can to help tell that story, and then give our members resources to help them protect their business and move forward.
That's fantastic. I think it highlights as well, it's even more important to be a member and get involved with your association more than ever. I know that it's hard, you know, because us four, we're very highly, obviously you, Susan, because you work for IAAPA, but me, Lauren, and Andy are deeply invested and work hard to make our association better. And I think spreading that word and talking like we are now about some of the things that people don't even see. So advocacy days, you know, going and speaking on the Hill and speaking to your representatives. I've not done it myself. I don't know have either of you, Andy or Lauren, if you've been part of advocacy days?
I haven't yet, but I've had it on my calendar until you know, the kind of crazy times that we're in. But I intend to next year. I think it's a really important thing. I'm looking forward to it.
I always felt like a hypocrite. I wasn't sure I could get involved because I wasn't quite American yet. So here's this telling you how important IAAPA's lobbying team, you know, and how important this is. And, you know, it's like, oh, you're not even American, but I guess that's changed now. Lauren, obviously you've been, for people that don't know, you know, your family history within the amusement park industry is vast, and certainly your experience worldwide. How do you see, and this is a big general question, so attack it however you want, but how do you see the industry bouncing back from this? And do we think that, I mean, there was big shock when Disney and the parks closed, and, you know, are they doing the right thing? And which I think they are, to answer your own question, my own question, but how do you see the industry bouncing back from this?
You know, I think if we think if we can think as positively as we can and do work, still continue to do work, then we can give people something to look forward to. Someone on the IAAPA webinar the other day said, "Never let a good crisis go bad." And I'm sure she was quoting that from someone else, but it stuck with me. What can we do in this moment to learn, to take note of things? I'm taking note of communications, and changes in operations. That conversation is educating me. I think, what we're doing at Sally is preparing for people to have fun again.
Yeah.
And so we are, hunkered down with our design hats on, thinking of new ride concepts and really giving a little bit more attention to ones that we didn't have time to give that attention to prior to this. This is it's unprecedented, but it's a moment of pause that could really be beneficial for some, and for things that you've maybe put on the back burner or just have had to speed through because of everyday, business beforehand. So I think we just need to take opportunities when we can. And what we're pushing forward is the fun of the future. How can we work to have the light at the end of the tunnel where we can be, getting those great experiences and families back together and having memories, be made again. They can then go home and talk about it at the dinner table at night if they're not sick of talking to each other after this moment in time. But, I think you have to look for the silver lining, and you have to push forward and still think about the future.
I think that's what we've got to realize as an industry as a whole, whether you, like yourself, you're heavily involved in the actual amusement park sector, and a company like myself, we're more in the event section and family entertainment. But at the end of the day, all of us, and this is going to sound really cheesy, and I've heard myself say it before, but we're here to create memories and we're here to create smiles for the guests and the general public. And the sooner we can get back to that is important. But what you touched upon there about having this time, I literally got off a call at 3 o'clock before we jumped on. And internally with our team, we're using it to educate. We're taking the time where we haven't got sales calls pouring in. I'm not trained in a design capacity designing parks and attractions. And we're going to look at our processes, our marketing, our internal admin, and how can we improve things? How can stupid stuff like how can our order forms look better and be, work better within our other accounting systems? So little things like this, just because we're not out there doing events, selling rides, going to theme parks, depending whatever your business is in the industry, there are a lot of things you can be working on your business. And I think now's a great time to do that. Andy, apart from being a medical superstar now and not making products out of wood, have you got some of your internal team? I mean, is there any current projects that are still in the works that you still got to kind of work along with, or what's your status, I guess, at the moment?
Yeah, so I mean, the bulk of the shop operations are closed temporarily. Again, just to comply with the order. Our clients have been really good about rolling with us. So I mean, I'm still putting together proposals. I'm still talking to clients about future work. Our business is generally, 3 to 4 month out business. So we get an order, we put it all together in 3 to 4 months. We tend to execute, install, and the attraction opens for us. So we don't have some of those 3 to 4 year longer projects like some other people in the industry. So ours are a little more short term. So we feel the effects a lot more. Plus with the stay at home order, it kind of was a 1-2 punch. But our clients are still sticking with us. I mean, we still have contracts that we'll still fulfill, and we'll work with them on mitigating the problems with all this stuff as much as possible. But again, ironically, the bulk of our business right now was here in California doing some work for some of the big parks.
All
And
right.
they're in the exact same position we are. So it's not like they're mad at us and forging ahead and like, you guys need to get stuff done. They're in the exact same position. So as delayed as we're going to be is as delayed they're going to be. For some.
Oh, did we lose Andy mid-flow?
We'll just work with them on realistic expectations. So it's the thing is, it's with this affecting everybody globally. It's not one thing that like Daniels Woodland did wrong or bad practices or poor investments or something that you could easily point a finger to. It is literally affecting everybody across the board. California was just on the forefront of what I think is going to continue to happen across the U.S. of more and more states shutting down. And non-essential businesses like what we do, just having to do their best to stay home.
And all of us, by chance, we're all live in areas that are prone to natural disasters, and whether it be a hurricane or wildfires or earthquakes. And it's an interesting paradigm shift of how, when we prepare as a business, when we're in the midst of a hurricane, and that's all you can think about, and our business shuts down, and you forget that the rest of the world is just going on bliss. It's not their main concern. And the same for the fires and things like that. And I learned that when California had the fires this year, and I just thought, wow, when we're in the hurricane, we were so focused. And obviously this is at the forefront of everybody's attention in the US and all our customer base. And then the fires were going on, and I didn't even really realize at first how bad they were. And then that was a learning experience for us that, we're still getting calls saying, why isn't my product shipped, or things like that, and people aren't switched on. Whereas, again, we're saying unprecedented a hell of a lot of times, but everybody is in the same boat with this, and it's about how we learn from different. Why I have you guys on as guests of totally different companies and ventures that may not apply to some companies, but they can learn little tidbits here and there, and hopefully come out of this more positive. We have a question from Christian. Have orders been cancelled by any of the three of you? And do you, sorry, I should have reread this before. Have orders been cancelled for any of you? And do you have any more effect on the projects that were discussed but not signed? I have some experience on that, but I'll throw it down to either Lauren or Andy, whoever wants to go first, if you've got current projects or projects that didn't quite get over the line before the world descended into chaos.
Yeah, I can take that one. For us, we kind of have two big projects still rocking. For those of you that don't know about Sally Dark Rides, we typically do 3 to 4 major dark ride attractions a year. And sometimes fewer, sometimes more. But, luckily we were in the tail end of one of our projects. So, everything's been produced. We're actually getting ready to ship out. However, we're still trying to figure out timelines on that because our client is up north, and Santa's Village, actually, we're redoing one of their dark rides, going to be super cute, great humbug adventure. But when is their park opening? When can we actually, get up there to install our stuff? I know all of my people are on that. I just haven't gotten an update as far as when are we actually installing. But it's happening. It's moving forward. That will be open when they open. The other one is a bit of a ways out. So that's still very much a go. We're excited about it. And if you tune into Sally Dark Rides in the coming year, you'll be hearing all about it. But, we're fortunate to still have that one on the hook and moving right along. We're constantly trying to drum up new business, and there were certainly leads that we had on the line that are in the same space as everyone right now. Everything's just kind of paused. We can still talk about the future, but things are a little unknown. So it's almost, we're on a teeter-totter of comfort and discomfort.
Right.
Momentarily we're fine, but we don't really know what the implications will be a year from now. So, doing what we can to continue to tell people who we are, what we can do for them, and what we can do for the end client at the end of the day, which is like what you said, Mike, bring back those smiles, give people something to look forward to. And I think that if people put that hat on, then it is going to be a bright side at the end of the day, and we'll be smiling in no time.
Yeah. I think, Andy, me and our companies are similar in terms of the scale and size of projects that we do and volume. Were you guys, have you had things that were right on the cusp and that, you're not be able to close, and kind of where are you at the moment with some of your projects?
We've been fortunate that we haven't had anybody cancel any projects with us. Like I mentioned, we're doing work with Knott's Berry Farm. We're doing work with the Great Wolf Lodge, New Manteca location, and they're both impacted just as much as we are. So it's, as Lauren just said, it's kind of like there's a pause and things will pick back up once we get there. We had a few projects that were ready to go and things have just kind of gone silent, understandably. And so the thinking is once this is all kind of over, things will pick back up. But we've been really lucky that nobody has, we were signing an order and it was just thrown away or didn't get executed. It is literally, as Lauren just said, it's kind of like a pause has just been hit. The hard part is, unlike when you mentioned a natural disaster where there's kind of a beginning of an end and you can plan for that, is we don't know what the end is going to be here. Are we weeks out? Are we months out? I think Asia, as Susu was mentioning, I think Asia is a really good indicator for us because they are starting to open up their parks. They are starting to get stuff going again. And I think they're going to be kind of the guinea pig for us on how we're going to follow through things and how they'll get rolling again. But as of right now, fingers crossed, we're while we're temporarily closed, nobody has pulled anything back on us.
Right. And I think it's important that when, marketing efforts have got to be handled with a certain amount of empathy, that, we understand that everybody is hurting at the moment, and trying to do best, for your local community. To shifting your marketing efforts is going to be a challenge because, like I said, everybody's hurting. From our stance, we had quite a major player in the indoor play sector. We were ready to pull the trigger on 3 indoor inflatable parks, and that was literally days away from being signed, with 50% deposits being put down. And not because of coronavirus, there was a slight delay, but as soon as the news started to spread, as much as the virus, then those projects kind of, I think they'll come back. But luckily, we haven't had order cancellations. We've had 2 attempts at cancellations for small spare parts and things, but those orders were manufactured and paid in full already. So we know if that we can't be offering refunds and things on stuff that's made ready to ship, but equally communicating that in a way that you're sympathetic to your customers, and that we are in this together, because if we start to lose orders due to cancellations for things like that, then are we going to be around for when inevitably we come through this? And I think that's the positive to highlight on, is that there is an end to this. This isn't the end.
I will say, I've been. I think all 3 of us are lucky in that regard that we aren't getting orders canceled, because I have been talking to other colleagues in other parts of this industry, and they're not as lucky. They've had to lay off staff. They've had contracts that were signed with money ready to come, and they've withdrawn the contract, with the whole force majeure sort of clause. So we're fortunate, but not everybody in our industry is as fortunate. So there are people out there that are feeling this even hard, more than Daniels Woodland is.
Absolutely. I mean, a big part of my customer base is the event rentals industry, and they seem to be absolutely decimated by this. The droves of, devastating stories that I've read about, these guys have got delivery drivers, they've got bookings, they're coming into their busy season as, it's Florida, so the sun's shining, but it seems, I have customers in the UK, and typically March is grey and miserable, and the sun is shining, and everybody's been ordered to stay inside. So there are dozens and dozens of companies that are laying off staff, refunding bookings and orders for kids' birthday parties and things like this. I've got a question here from Jens. Good thing that you guys are not losing business. That's not entirely true, Jens, but because we technically are. But how are you guys dealing with requests for payment postponements from clients? As things stand, we haven't had that arise. I know, not to promote the next show because we haven't finished this one yet, but on Friday I do have a finance expert that's going to talk about options for your financing and the SBA loans and things like that, as well as if you do have equipment on lease or finance or any kind of finance questions in general, he should be able to speak more to that. But I guess we're quite fortunate that we've had no payment postponement requests. I don't know if that's come across from you guys, Andy or Lauren.
Not that I'm aware of.
From our aspect, no, because we get paid in installments to meet production goals. And if there's no production, there's no payment. So it does affect us because we're not bringing that money in, but we're also not spending the money to produce right now. Correct.
Yeah, I think we're in the same boat. And Susie, we were talking before we came on air, just some news for exhibitors of the shows that they are pushing back the deadlines for contracts and deposits and working out payment plans for the Orlando Expo. Am I right with that? No?
Yes, and we are moving forward with that and planning still for IAAPA Expo Europe and IAAPA Expo here in Orlando. So all of the information about that is updated on our website regularly, iappa.org/expos. And yes, we want to work with all of our members and all of our exhibitors on deposits and anything. It's important to us to be partners now because, as we all said, we're going to come forward and be better for all this. So if you have any questions, anybody has questions about their exhibits, we just encourage you to call IAAPA directly and call the exhibit sales team, and it will work with everybody on a case-by-case basis.
Right. Had a question from Christina Stiles, which I think is Mike Bain in disguise. I think I recognize that name. Is IAAPA lobbying for the party rental industry for the same strength as it does for the amusement park industry?
So IAAPA is talking on behalf of the attractions industry as a whole. So that includes manufacturers, suppliers, zoos, aquariums, FECs, theme parks. So the short answer is yes, but we're not breaking that out individually. We're not saying here's the FEC segment, here's the manufacturer supplier segment, here's the party rental segment. We are talking on behalf of the entire attractions industry because it's very important to us to support the entire industry, the breadth and depth of all the smaller businesses all the way up to like larger destination parks. So yes, we are. And then, Mike, I just want to go back to a couple minutes ago. You said that your team is really looking inward now, focusing on training, looking at things that you haven't been able to get to. And, we here at IAAPA have realized that there's a great opportunity for that. So just a quick reminder that all of our past webinars, our entire archive of webinars is available. It's free. It's free to any member of IAAPA. We also have 19 new modules that we brought on board that have training and all different things. We're continuing to add more. So if training is something, this is the time to do it. I know personally for me, I often don't have time to do it. And I've been enjoying being able to log on to various webinars right from my couch and catch up on that. So we encourage our members to look to IAAPA and look to them for enhanced ways to educate your team when they're working at home.
Fantastic. Right, I don't have any other questions. Is there anything, any of the last bits of final advice or tips, hints, anything that you want to share or a message that you want to share? If not, that's fine, but we're going to wrap up in about 3-4 minutes. So.
I think I would just like to say, you guys have all touched on it. We've been talking about it. We're all in this together. And I'm not saying that to sound lighthearted or make fun, but we are all in it together. We're dealing with it every day, and there is light at the end of the tunnel. And we know we are in a special industry that's resilient, and it comes back. And I think if we're just patient and we take it day by day, and we know it's all going to get better, Lauren said it best, preparing to go back to have a lot of fun.
Fantastic. Anybody else?
Lauren?
I'm gonna keep talking about. I'm looking forward to having fun, and I want to, I want to hope for the best and the light at the end of the tunnel, and plan for the best. So I think that's kind of our motto back at Sally is let's keep crafting, let's keep at our craft, and because we know it means a lot to the world at the end of the day, and means a lot to people that are currently in a bind, suffering, not enjoying this moment. We want to bring back that enjoyment at the end of the day. So,
right.
I think, it's been echoed. I think we'll be stronger as an industry. We'll be able to get past this in the future and really enjoy the moments of spending time together. It's funny. I read, there's so much stuff on like Facebook and all these memes and all that stuff. And there was a mom that was asking her kid, like, don't you remember this horrible time when we barely survived? And the kid's response was, I don't remember that at all. I remember we were eating dinner together as a family, and we were coloring books, and we were watching TV, and we hung out a lot. And we went on walks, and we did a lot of things together for a long time. It was great. So I think it's a perspective to an extent, but you have to look at the optimistic side of this, that will, for the most of us, will be okay and pull through and be better for it. Because it's really the only way you can look at it. If you start to look at the pessimistic side, it starts to get pretty dark and gloomy. So, yeah,
absolutely. I think something that we're going to touch upon more on Friday is how you deal with this now is going to have a big impact on your business going forward, and how you look after people and how you deal with the situation is really going to reflect on your ethics, where you stand as a company, and how connected you are both to your local community and to your global community of customers and suppliers. And it's one of the main reasons that we're doing this, because there isn't a lot, I know that all three of us, there's not a lot that you can do locally, because typically you're not selling theme park rides or attractions to your local community. Although that being said, I do have an indoor park literally 10 minutes down the road. But it's a case of how you interact and get that local support and get your community support. When I say community, I mean as a global attractions community. So we're going to touch upon more of that on Friday. We're doing that at 3:30 Eastern Standard Time, where we'll have Craig Coling from Ascentium Capital talking about finance, Kevin Waging, who's a party rental operator in Ohio, but also works on the safety and government side of things, certainly in Ohio. And then we've got, who else have we got? Oh God, this is embarrassing. I should have checked this before. Oh, we've got Rob Weinstein from ERS, software rental system, event rental systems, which are talking about how to focus on your website and your rental processes and the kind of back end of business development. So hopefully those watching can join us. A bit more of a party rental vibe to it. But for today, I want to thank Susie, Andy, and Lauren for joining us. And just stay safe, guys.
For sure.
Thanks for keeping us all connected, Mike. Really appreciate it. See you all and talk to you all. Take care, everybody.
Bye.